Morning, everybody. I just thought I would just say a few things about, excursions, activities, and tourism in Antigua. Um, there's just to give a little bit of background about my experience. I grew up in a hotel, and I spent all of my life. I'm 44 years old now. I spent all of my life in tourism, and I have an excursion company called Adventure Antigua. You can check it out on adventureantigua.com. And, you know, those of us who operate excursions in Antigua and good excursions in Antigua, and I don't mind saying my excursion is a good excursion because I've been told so by the reviews, TripAdvisor, Antigua forums, Cruise Critic. I mean, there's many forums where people will post reviews of our tours. So that Antigua has some exceptionally good excursions. The excursion operators know it because we see the reviews. And people who really pay attention to tourism and go on TripAdvisor, etc., also know because they can see the reviews for themselves there as well. For some reason, most government ministers and most people who work in hotels and are not really paying attention think that Antigua doesn't have good excursions, think that we don't have enough excursions, they don't have enough activities to do in Antigua. And you're always hearing people saying, oh, yes, we need more activities, we need more things to do in Antigua. No, I don't think we need more things to do in Antigua, more activities. We need more hotels, we need more hotel rooms that are up to par, and we need more hotel guests. I mean, you have a season in Antigua, a tourist season in Antigua, which pretty much starts on the 20th of December. Yes, 20th of December, and goes until, you know, May, beginning of May or end of April. So our tourist season is shorter and shorter and shorter. The hotels that are up to par are very few. You can go from Europe to many places in the Caribbean basin for a fraction of the price that you can come to Antigua. Um, you know, there are hundreds of reasons. You can speak to hoteliers and listen. There are hundreds of reasons why our product, our tourism product, our hotels specifically, are much more expensive than those in Dominican Republic, in Cuba, in Mexico. I mean, you have five-star hotels over there being sold with flights for the price of a three-star here in Antigua. And, our problem here, as far as attracting tourists to Antigua, is not the lack of quality activities or quality excursions. That is a misconception that is a dangerous one in my opinion. And the reason I say it's dangerous is because I keep on I'm talking here about things like the Dolphin Park. And once again, the dolphin parks and swimming with dolphins has become a topic here in Antigua. And the rumor mill is buzzing again about it. Um, we need a dolphin park to get tourists to come to Antigua. I don't know why people still think this is sensible. I mean, have you not been watching what's been happening with SeaWorld recently? I mean, people, the ignorance that was once swimming with dolphins and watching marine mammals in captivity is 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 happily being changed by very good education. And how these dolphins are captured, what the dolphin families go through when dolphins are taken away from them. I mean, listen, the reality is fewer and fewer traveling tourists want to be associated with countries, let alone resorts that associate themselves with dolphin captivity. Um, it's not an attraction. It's not what is going to drive people to your country. What's going to drive people to your country is high quality, high service hotels and high quality, high service excursions, not in stupid dolphin parks that's not going to bring people to Antigua. And I wish that the politicians would really do some research, go and spend some time on TripAdvisor, go and look and read what people are saying about Antigua, what people are saying about our excursions. As an excursion operator who has traveled up and down the Caribbean to some of the best destinations in terms of turnover, Antigua has in my opinion, Antigua between Trinidad and Jamaica. I wouldn't include Jamaica because Jamaica has some exceptional excursions. But I mean, between Trinidad and up to Jamaica, I think Antigua has the best excursions in the Caribbean. The quality of our excursions are incredibly good. You can hear that from the cruise ships. The cruise ships say that, they came here and had a conference over at Perry Bay recently, and they said our excursions are way above most other excursions that they visit. The problem that they say is the cost of selling those excursions, which is driven up by the cost of transporting tourists via taxi to most of these excursions. And so, once again, the misconception is we need better excursions. Well, you need better transportation. The excursion part is excellent. We need more variety of excursions. Have you looked at the variety of excursions Antigua has? We have a huge supply of excursions. So, again, I wish people who are making the decisions at the very top when it comes to things like dolphin parks, and not just dolphin parks, to be honest. Over the last 20 years, I have, and very much so in the last 10 years, there's been a huge influx of fly-by-night and excursions. So, for example, the Antigua Barbuda Investment Authority, I don't even know if they still exist, but before, some guy would come up with 50,000 EC in his pocket, 20,000 US, and say, oh, I have this great idea for excursion. I'm from America, yes, but if you help me with my tax concessions, blah, blah, blah. They're like, sure, yeah, go and start an excursion. And we have one excursion after another starting up here, competing with local operators. And by the way, these guys all get their tax-free concessions and everything else. And, that also hurts our product. Many of the excursion operators, the very good ones, are operating at such low turnover that it's hard for them to stay in business. And let's see, when the UPP got into power, somebody can remind me what date that was, but when the UPP got into power, we organized the Antigua and Barbuda Excursions Alliance. We had 45 excursion operators sit down in a meeting, and all local. Now go. I tell you, do me a favor. Go and look online to find out how many local excursion operators you see. The local excursions are being marginalized by so many unfair practices, and I'll talk about them right now. For example, I'm going to name some hotels. Carlisle Bay has their own excursions, their own boats, their own in-house boats doing excursions. Curtin Bluff, same thing, has their own. Hermitage, they may say that I'm not telling the truth, but their dinghy does private charters. It's a big dinghy, does private charters daily. Let's go a little bit further around the corner. We get up to Sandals, has their own. They do snorkeling tours daily. Of course, they do their scuba. We go a little bit further up the coast. Blue Waters has their own boat doing private charters. We go a little bit further up the coast. Jumbie Bay has several boats doing charters. A little bit further up the coast, Pineapple Beach has their own boats doing charters. You go a little bit further on the coast. Veranda has multiple excursions in-house. You go a little bit further around the coast. St. James Club has their own excursions doing. We need more quality, yes, because an entrepreneur doing their own excursion has a lot more passion, a lot more invested in their excursion, wanting to make sure that those TripAdvisor reviews are incredible. When you're operating your own in-house hotel excursion, the quality is different. So, we need more quality? Sure we do. Minimize the number of hotels running their own excursions. Not only does it hurt employment, taxation coming into your country, it's hurting entrepreneurial spirit. The hotels have an unfair advantage in so many ways operating their own excursions. They should not be operating their excursions. When the reason that the government of Antigua and Barbuda gives hotels concessions to start hotels, to buy land, to build hotels, to operate the hotels, is in the hope that there's a huge amount of trickle down and sort of a fostering of entrepreneurial spirit. Now, when the excursion, and one of the most basic entrepreneurial endeavors that can revolve around a hotel is in the running of activities. But if the hotel itself is doing all their own activities, then what happens to that entrepreneurial spirit? You know, somebody in tourism, the prime minister, you guys need to really pay attention to what's going on in this country. You need to go and investigate our excursions, go and look at the reviews on TripAdvisor, compare them to reviews in other islands. We have exceptionally good excursions. We don't need dolphin parks. We don't need hotels operating their own excursions. We need our own locally operated excursions to be given the same fair opportunity that everybody else is. And you know what? You need to make sure those hotel rooms are up to par. Make sure the costs associated with running hotels are comparable and competitive enough that we can attract tourists to them and not have these people go elsewhere. You know, I'm very upset to hear about the possibility of another dolphin park coming to Antigua, and the reason being that it would help attract more tourists to Antigua. I think that that's it's completely flawed in so many ways. One of them is that having a dolphin park here is not going to bring more tourists to Antigua. And in fact, the opposite possibly will be true. You know, that movie Blackfish and the ongoing campaign by many of the anti-dolphin people will definitely turn off a lot of people. You know, I know people who will cancel their holidays to Antigua if they hear that we have a dolphin park coming here. There's absolutely no question about that. So I don't believe that having a dolphin excursion is going to bring more people to Antigua. I also believe that having a dolphin park will dilute the overall number of tourists who are venturing out of the hotel. It will dilute it from other established excursions who are struggling already with the numbers. With the numbers. I mean, you have some fantastic excursions. We can't get the tourists out of the hotels. Why can't we get them out of the hotels? Well, I mean, to give you an idea, for me to send two people from St. James Club to Jolly Harbor, it's almost $90 US in cab fare. And I have to pay the cab fare, because if I don't pay the cab fare, they're not going to come. Because, you know, other excursion companies have decided to pay cab fare. You know, there's an complete and utter ignorance of the excursion sector in Antigua, and we have been to every minister of tourism over the last 15 years to talk about these things without getting anywhere with any of them. We've been to labor ministers about all the undocumented excursion operators, and there are a huge amount of non-Antiguan excursion operators in Antigua. I mean, this rant has been a long time coming, you know, and the reality is that in Jolly Harbor alone, where I am right now, the majority of excursion operators are not Antiguan. The majority of them had just arrived in Antigua in the last couple of years. And Antiguan operators have been marginalized left, right, and center. I mean, as I said, when the UPP started when they got into power, we had 45 excursion companies meet and then go to the Minister of Tourism. 45. Go and try and find 10 local Antiguan excursion operators now. They've all closed down. And they've closed down for a number of reasons that we've been begging government and the authorities to look after. But they haven't. So, you know, Christian says, operate to pick up a service with our own minivan. Well, you know, I wish it was that simple. There are many excursion operators, especially the foreign ones, who pick up guests from hotels with their own vehicles. A big company like Tropical Adventures or Wadadley Cats or the Zip Line Company or even Adventure Antigua, we try and do that. The taxi drivers blockade the road. I'm not joking. They'll blockade the road. So we are unable to provide transportation for our own excursions. But that's just one of many challenges the excursion companies have. And everybody's like, oh, y'all make endless money, y'all making endless money. Well, you know what? There's, as I said, just keep this in mind. 45 excursion companies met in 2000 and whenever it was, 2003 or something like that. And now a fraction of those companies exist. And, you have to really figure out why it is that all these local operators shut down. You know what? Is there a glass bottom boat in Antigua? No. How many local operators? They go and look. There are so few because of many reasons. You bring in the submarine. You remember the subcat? Bam. Lots of people, go to that, try and get an excursion. Not enough to make them a successful company. They went bankrupt. Black Swan, bankrupt. Antigua Speedboat Tours, bankrupt. Endless foreign operators will come in because the government says, we need more attractions. Yes, sure, you want to come in? Here, start an excursion company. And it dilutes the overall pool of people leaving the hotels. And, this idea that, yes, once again, we need dolphin parks, we need to beef up our activities. Antigua has excellent activities. There's so much to do in Antigua, so many things to see. But for some reason, the people who are making the decisions at the governmental level don't know this. Fellas, go on TripAdvisor. Come on some of the excursions. I've been asking ministers of government to come on our excursions for 20 years, and they won't come. I don't know why they won't come, but they need to come and see our excursions, need to experience our excursions. You see the quality we have, and then you'll say, oh, wait, hold on there a second. No, maybe we don't need more excursions. We don't need more activities. We don't need more diverse activities. We need to spend more time figuring out how Antigua hotels can be more cost effective, figuring out how we can market Antigua more effectively. The problem with getting tourists to Antigua is not the lack of diverse, interesting excursions. And yeah, man, it's frustrating. So many foreign operators coming inside of here, operating at unfair advantages. So many hotels operating. I mean, if you just started watching and you play back this, you'll see how many hotels are doing their own excursions. I mean, come on, think about this, right? You get a hotel, you buy the land for peppercorn rates, or you buy the land for hugely discounted rate. You get 15-year tax-free concessions. You're given various other concessions, work permits, etc., to operate a hotel, and then you're operating your own boat tour out to the reef because we can't find an Antiguan who's capable. You mean to tell me you can't find an Antiguan who has enough money to buy a boat and operate a boat, so you must allow the hotel to have their own boat? Again, I'm going to do it one more time so everybody can hear me loud and clear. Carlisle Bay, Curtain Bluff, Hermitage Hotel, Sandals. And Sandals, remember, is more than one. Then you go Blue Waters, Jumbie Bay, Veranda, Pineapple, and St. James Club, all operating their own boat tours. That makes sense to you? You can't find an Antiguan man to operate a boat tour? Well, I know you can, And I mean, we're operating the month of September. I have 3 boats. I can count in September and October the number of days where 3 boats went out. In fact, there were none. I can count on one hand, the number of days in those 2 months that 2 boats went out. Yet, I'm watching the hotel's boats go out every single day. And I know, go and read the reviews, they don't have the quality that we have. But the thing is, if you're a hotel and you're selling excursions, who are you going to sell first? Your own, or you're going to farm it out of the hotel? The government needs to pay attention to the excursion market. It's time for them to pay attention to it, and they wouldn't be making silly statements like, yes, we need more dolphin parks, we need more variety of excursions, we need higher quality excursions. I will venture to say that Antigua's excursions have a higher quality and a better reviews than the best hotels in Antigua. Go and look. Go on TripAdvisor today. Go and find out how many TripAdvisor stars Jumbie Bay has, how many TripAdvisor stars Carlisle Bay has, and then go and look at the top excursions and see how many stars they have. But we need better excursions? Give me a break, man. We need better concessions, and we need some tourism and government people to pay attention to the excursion and say, oh wait, hold on there. We don't need another rocket propelled jet ski thump some other foolishness to come in and operate. We don't need a foolishness of a dolphin park. We don't need, some of the crazy stuff you see. In Jolly Harbour, we have about 7 sailing excursions. I think one of them is owned by an Antiguan. And look, all y'all, I don't have a problem with none of y'all, just so you know. I think y'all operate amazing excursions. The problem is with the government system of monitoring and allowing people to start businesses. And you yourselves, all y'all foreign guys who've been operating in Jolly Harbour for years and years and years, each of you get upset when all of a sudden there's a new foreigner operating a sailboat charter company. You go to register your boat at the marina. Okay, let me just explain to you how it works in case you didn't know. All y'all Guyanese people and Jamaican people and Dominican people who are being harassed by the Ministry of Labor and all the rest of it, right? And Social Security. My advice to all Jamaicans and Dominican Republic people and Guyanese who are harassed by the Labor Department or whoever else, buy a sailboat, sail it into Antigua. When you finish docking up over at Customs Immigration, go up to the Marine Department and tell them you want to register it in Antigua. Go to Andrews Insurance, insure your boat at Andrews. Take your insurance, go and get your certificates, your captain's license, which takes you a few weeks. And Adams will give you your registration. Go print your brochures. Don't worry about work permit, because nobody's going to check you for work permit. Nobody's going to come out and check you for work permit. Trust me. Trust me. I watching for years now, 15, 20 years watching them boys operate with no work permits. They're not going to, Social Security is not going to come onto the boat to see if you're paying your Social Security, okay? So all y'all Guyanese Jamaican people who want to get a job, get down! Want to find work, invest in a sailboat, go and register your boat as Antiguan, go to Andrews, get your insurance, get your captain's, your boat master's permit, and that's, by the way, that's a whole, I'm not even going to talk about the licensing and all the rest of it, because that's another incredible stumbling block here in Antigua these days. But do that, and you'll operate just fine and dandy without anybody harassing you. Because trust me, that's the way it works here. If you want to make Antigua great again, Antigua and Barbuda, you need to focus on the entrepreneurs, the local entrepreneurs who can and will do very good excursions and other jobs, which are being farmed out to hotels and to foreigners. If a foreigner is going to come here and start an Italian restaurant, okay, and they're Italian and they have Italian chefs, I don't know how many Antiguan chefs are trained in Italian cooking or whatever else. Maybe give them a work permit, you know what I mean? Let them start, let them invest their 500,000 EC and start a restaurant, But a snorkeling trip out to Cades Reef? Why are you giving work permits? Or you're probably not. But why are you giving a boat license and a captain's license and a business license for somebody to do a snorkeling tour to Cades Reef when they're not from Antigua? Tell me why. I don't understand. Why are you allowing a hotel to do a 3-hour snorkeling tour with a boat that the hotel buys, when many of the employees working in that hotel, saving their service charge for years and years and years, are looking for ideas to spend their money on a new small business? Why are you allowing the hotel to do a snorkeling trip out to the reef when some of those hotel employees could do it themselves? I don't get it. Anyway, I hope you all are not going to come down on me too hard for this rant, but when I heard about the Dolphin Park today, and the fact that people very high up in the government are saying that we need a dolphin park, I just had to get some stuff off my chest. Anyway, have a good day, everybody, and a good weekend.